What up, everybody, and welcome back to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today's blade, we're going to talk about the ESEE 6. Now, this is the second video in a series on ESEE knives that I am doing. The first video was on the ESEE 3, and that's already posted, so be sure and check that out. We're going to do this video on the ESEE 6, and then we're going to have one more video that's on the ESEE Hoonglass. Now, the ESEE 6 I consider to be the core knife in my fixed blade system. And by that I mean it is the knife that I can depend on in any situation, whether it is in a martial use situation, a utility situation, survival, anything. This knife is a jack of all trades and a master of nearly all. And there's very few knives you can say that about. As always, ESEE knives are produced in 1095 carbon steel. They are not stainless, so you need to take care of them. That just means keep it dry, keep it clean, use some oil on it or rust prohibitor. Not a big deal, guys. I use Tough Glide on my knives. I've never had any issue at all. These knives are manufactured by Rowan Manufacturing for ESEE knives. Rowan Manufacturing is an American company. They have a stellar reputation from their work with ESEE knives. These knives are so very well done. Now, let's go ahead and knock some specs out on this knife. 6.5 inch blade. Say that's 16.5 centimeters. You got a 5 1/4 inch handle length, which is 13.5 centimeters. That gives you 11 3/4 inch overall, or 30 centimeters overall, and the blade stock thickness is 3/16 of an inch. Now, when I initially decided to come out in the field and do these reviews, I wanted to do some cutting tasked with them to show you guys how they cut. But since I have to do these reviews as one takes, and I'm having to use my cell phone to film them, it just proved too difficult to set up to capture the cutting and everything, guys, and I apologize for that. I hope in the future to use a different setup where I can edit video and edit together some stuff where I can do independent shots of cutting tests and the reviews. So we're just going to skip over that in this. Just enjoy nature a little bit, and you're just going to have to take my word on it. This knife will cut and cut and cut. All right. Let's take a look at this blade. It is a drop point configuration with a mild drop. The tip of the blade is high in line with the handle. You do have a good amount of belly. The belly extends. Here is your belly on this knife, and then you've got a good amount of flat here. You do have a forward finger choil where you can choke up on it right to the edge of the blade to use for detail work. And we'll pull out a little piece of wood right here and do a little detail sort of cutting on. I'm just peeling off some shavings that are just paper thin shavings right here, guys. Again, I use this to notch some of this wood. You can see the notches that I've cut in it. For detail work, even though you've got a 6.5 inch blade length, it works very well for that. And one of the reasons is it is a full flat grind, and on that 3/16 stock thickness across this width of blade, it gives you a very fine edge profile. And it's probably, guys, it's probably not but about 25 thousandths on this big knife. That's a pretty thin edge on this knife. But not so thin that it's not tough. And 1095 carbon steel is very, very tough. Anyway, it's very impact resistant. You shouldn't have any problems with it chipping out or cracking. And even if you did, send this puppy back to ESEE. They've got that no question asked. And we don't give a shit what you did with it warranty. If you broke it on purpose, they'll replace it, guys. Come on. It doesn't get much better than that. They'll replace it if you break it on purpose. You know what? That's, to me, that's a selling feature right there. A perfect selling feature for ESEE products. Now, like I say, these are manufactured by Rowan Manufacturing in the United States. Excellent fit and finish. There is absolutely nothing wrong in this blade. The grinds are even. The taper is even. The edge profile is even, guys. It came razor sharp. It is just as sharp as any finely built small folder that you would come across. If you wanted to do paper cuts with it, it would be just fine to do that. Now, of course, you're not going to cut magazine paper with it. That's a little thin. But it's a very slicey knife for what it is. Now, in addition, with a 6.5 inch blade length and 3/16 stock, you could use this as a chopper. Now, you don't want to get crazy with it and try to chop down an 8-inch diameter tree. You would be much better served in that with a saw or an axe, or a much larger chopper, say like the Hunglass, even though I think that would even be a little undersized for that size of a chopping task. Now, as far as batoning with this, no issue there, guys. Now, keep in mind it is 3/16 stock. I have seen people bend these knives when batoning through too large of a piece of wood and encountering knots. You just have to know what you can do with your knife and what you can't do with it. And since you got a 6.5 inch blade with basically a 6-inch cutting length here, a cutting edge, you're going to go, I wouldn't batten through anything over half of that cutting edge. So say a 3-inch piece of wood, it would be fine for splitting that down for kindling for your campfire. Food prep. This would serve for food prep, guys. It's a jack of all trades, master of almost all of them. Martial use, if you need to use it in a tactical sense, there's plenty of reach. It's not so heavy that it doesn't move quickly in your hand. In a martial sense as far as utility, because let's face it, in the modern military, there's not many knife fights, guys. What these guys and gals in the military are doing, they're chopping with it, they're prying with it. It would be perfectly usable for that. You do have a section of exposed tang down here for impact, but keep in mind that's just 3/16 of an inch thick. So if you are hammering on something that's sort of soft, just the thinness of that will damage whatever you're hammering on. Keep that in mind. And it's not really pointy. I don't think this would work very well to pop automotive glass at all. In the handle, you've got micarta scales. They do have the sort of trademark red liners that ESEE uses a lot with their gray micarta scales. They are affixed with Torx head screws, and the scales are removable in the field. They are not glued on. There is an aftermarket for replacement handle scales for ESEE knives. As always with ESEE products, I recommend the Knife Connection for your purchases. I'm not affiliated with the Knife Connection other than the affiliation of a customer to a supplier. I buy all of my ESEE products from the Knife Connection, and I don't even look anywhere else. If I need an ESEE product, an ESEE accessory, that's where I just go straight to their website. They do offer aftermarket handle scales that are in machine G10, and they are, rather than the flat slab profile of the factory scales, they are in a palm swell profile, much like the width, but it would be a palm swell in the thickness, a more rounded handle scale, radius, more of a hand feeling scale. And I will probably get a set of those scales to try on this knife. It feels like, to me, this knife is very comfortable to hold, first of all. There's no hot spots in the handle scales. even though they are flat slabs, there is a wide radius here on the edge all the way around that scale. Very clean work done on that, so no hot spots, no issues there. But for my medium-sized hand, these are a little wide in that flat profile, and I think that I'll try those knife connection handle scales. If I do, we'll put them on there, we'll use them, and I'll report back to you guys how they feel in my medium-sized hand. So quality, fit and finish is there from Rowan Manufacturing, no problem at all. Rowan is known, very well known, for the heat treat on the 1095 that they use in these ESEE knives. You should never have any problem out of that. You know what, guys, it's such a good knife overall, with such a wide range of use. I honestly, I wouldn't call it my core knife if I didn't believe it couldn't handle everything that I need it to handle, guys. It is just such a classic, neutral, wide open, well-designed knife. I mean, as far as saying neutral goes, look at that handle shape. You do have a finger choil here to keep you from sliding up on the handle. You've got the palm swell here. You've got plenty of spacing. You can see that's in my medium-sized hand. No issue for large-size hands on this. Those with smaller hands might find the handle to be a little wide, so try it out beforehand if you have very small hands, or you ladies out there. The ladies might be better suited to the SE3 or the SE4 model. Again, check out my review on the SE3 and see what you think about that. But as far as the design of the handle, it works in a forward grip. It works in a reverse grip, guys. If you want to draw cut, all right, it is very comfortable to do a draw cut on, very controllable. The only issue with the draw cut that I see is you do have from the choil here, the extension of the choil, you are 3/4 of an inch away from the edge of that. Whereas in a forward grip, you can use that choil and get right up to the edge. In the draw grip, you are not going to be able to do that, because that extension for the choil here will be right in your palm, and it is not comfortable at all. Immediately it is not comfortable to use that way. So keep that in mind if you do a lot of work in a draw cut. Say that all the survival guys that use knives a lot and use multiple grips, and you're cutting and pull cuts and push cuts, and just keep in mind that not every knife is perfect for every hand, and not every handle is perfect for every grip. It's nearly impossible to design something like that. But in a forward grip, a reverse grip, a draw grip, if it is usable with the distance from your hand to the edge here, it is comfortable that way. Guys, it's such a good knife. It is such a good knife. I have no issue, no problem, no hesitation at all in recommending the SE6 as a core piece in anybody's collection. There is no arguing with the design of a drop point blade. The design of the handle is excellent. The ergonomics are fantastic. The build quality is fantastic. The choice of steels in 1095, that is a very popular choice of steels because 1095 is very tough. You want toughness in an outdoor knife. It gives you shock resistance. It's resistant to chipping and cracking and breaking. It doesn't have the highest degree of wear resistance that you would equate with edge retention, but it is easy to resharpen even in the field, and it will get very, very sharp. And speaking of which, these knives, the ESEE knives, they come from ESEE, very sharp, guys, very sharp. In my opinion, you really don't need to do anything with the edge on a new ESEE knife. Some people like a finer ground edge. They do come with a toothy edge, but it is shaving sharp. There's no, I'm not kidding, guys. It's shaving sharp, even though it is a very toothy edge. I don't recommend going to a polished edge on it. I don't think that is useful in the field in a utility use. It just doesn't cut aggressively against more fibrous material that you find out in the field. And I mean, look around me right here. I'm surrounded by wood. If I need to cut any of this wood with this knife, a toothy edge is going to serve me much better than a polished edge, believe me. The sheath setup, again, guys, you know, I went sort of extravagant on my sheath setup, but it's set up if I only have one knife. I need it to cover all bases. And that's the reason I went with the MOLLE back. I put the pouch on it. I put the fire steel attachment on it. You know, you've got all the retention points here on the sheath, guys. You've got multiple retention points. You've got the actual retention point of the molded sheath itself, which is very good. There's just the slightest, most of what you hear there is the actual sheath itself, but just the slightest bit. But the retention, no issue there, guys. You've got a second point of retention here with the snaps, and then you've got a third point of retention here. And that makes this sheath jump qualified, guys. 3 points of retention. You strap this thing in and it's not going anywhere. You're going through the field, you're in the woods, a branch catches it, it's not going to pull anything out or pull anything off. Again, you've got the MOLLE backing that I opted for, and you can affix that to anything in any way you want. You can strap this thing inside out, upside down, right side around, whatever you want to do, guys. This setup right here just has the capability of being such an excellent fieldcraft, survival, utility use knife. It's ESEE, guys. It's ESEE, and I mean, you know by now that I'm an ESEE fanboy. I can't say that about most manufacturers of knives. Typically, in a manufacturer, I'll like 2 or 3 of their knives, and that's about it. But in the ESEE products, I like just about everything across their product line. They have a wide product line. It's all quality made. 99.9% of it American made. And it just has a stellar reputation. And there's a reason, guys. It's good stuff, well made, very useful. And the ESEE 6 is no exception. If there's anything I didn't cover in this, because I'm away from my regular routine, I don't have my backboard with all my notes on it and everything, guys. If there's anything that I didn't cover in this that you would like me to cover, just put it down in the comments and I'll come right back to you and answer any questions you've got. Again, I buy all my ESEE products at the Knife Connection. Fantastic company to buy from. The place to buy ESEE products, period, as far as I'm concerned. The best prices, the best selection, the best options. They even have an option where you can build your own knife. You choose just the blade, you choose the handle scales you want, you choose the type of sheath you want, sheath backer, the pouches to put on it, fire steel attachments. I mean, just everything you want, guys. You can custom build an ESEE knife. And that's great. You know, that's like going and ordering a car, guys. And you don't find that a lot in knives. So, to close this out, ESEE 6, highly recommended, highly versatile, highly useful, high quality, fantastic bang for your bucks. You know, I think the SE6 goes for about $120, maybe slightly less. And now, of course, as I've got it optioned out here, I added the molly backing on the sheath and the pouch and the fire steel. So I've probably got about $140 in this knife, maybe slightly more. But I can handle any type of situation with it. It is the core knife in my collection as far as fixed blades go. I can recommend it, do recommend it, and will recommend it to you guys. And as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you later.